Hello and welcome to The Download from Wise Woman and Wordsmith, where insight meets inspiration. A space for creatives, dreamers and visionaries ready to spark new ideas, ignite purpose and reimagine possibilities. Here we share downloads of wisdom, stories and strategies to help you thrive in your creative journey. I'm your host, Jill Marshall. Tune in, connect and let the magic unfold.
Show you tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to The Download. As you may know, I've been thinking a lot about friendship lately. We're in what I'm calling my season of friends. Those weeks when the universe keeps bringing the theme back around, asking you to notice it. And in the middle of all that reflection, a new word, one of those words that just lands as if it already existed in my personal lexicon. Trendship. Now, I'm using the word trendship in a fresh sense, though you will see it appear in social media culture. For me, it means when you come together around something that's trending in your lives. A phase, a passion, a project, a philosophy. Maybe it's yoga or writing or activism or parenthood. These friendships flare up around what's alive in us right now. The ideas, causes or identities even that we're experimenting with. I actually wrote about this years ago. Well, scratch that, because I write about friendship in all my novels, for young or old. My friends are hugely important in my life, and so it's no wonder my writing often zooms in on friendship in its many forms, from toddler sand play to pensioner reflections on life. I mentioned friends very specifically, however, in my rom-com novel, The Two Miss Parsons, published by Penguin, about the different types of friendship and how people love working out which one they are. When that book came out, it sparked a lot of funny and sometimes deeply honest conversations among my own friends. They'd message me saying, "So which one am I?" And of course, they were always the ones who last. Because sometimes you do drop friends along the way. Not from drama or betrayal, although that can and does happen, but because what brought you together, what trended, no longer vibes at the same rate. To coin one of my new favourite phrases, life lifes. We move on or apart or up or down or away. And that's okay. Not every friendship is meant to last forever, but each one is meant to mean something. When I think about friendship, I often see it through story. In literature, friendship is archetypal. There's Frodo and Sam, the steadfast companion who literally carries you when you can't take another step. There's Jo March and Laurie, that creative twinship that burns bright, even if it can't fit neatly into romance. There's Elizabeth Bennet and Charlotte Lucas, the grounded, pragmatic friend who chooses differently, reminding you that love and life don't all have to look the same. Each of these friendships mirrors a facet of the self. Sam mirrors Frodo's courage and faith. Laurie mirrors Jo's wild creativity. Charlotte mirrors Elizabeth's intelligence and realism. And that's how it is in life too. Certain friends reflect one particular element of you, a wavelength, a creative frequency, a reason or a season of your becoming. Others stay because you've ridden the whole scary ride together, through loss and laughter, reinvention and return. They've seen every version of you and still recognise the same soul underneath. A reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's a good measure of the people around you and can help you recognise and release people when the reason or season ends. Maybe with regret initially, but also with a sense that the time had come and you can bless and release the friendship and the friend from a tie that no longer serves either of you in quite the same way. Now, from a Jungian perspective, this makes perfect sense. Trendships mirror the emerging self, the part of us exploring a new energy or identity. They are the companions who walk with us to a certain threshold, and then, in that hero's journey way, when their symbolic work is done, drift away. In a trendship, the relationship often forms around a shared outer context, an idea, a project, a community, literally a trend, or an identity phase. As long as that shared context feels aligned, there's connection. But because it's externally rooted, the moment one person's outer life changes, their success, status, identity, even spiritual phase, that balance can wobble. The ego starts comparing, consciously or not, who's doing better, who's being seen more, who's further along. The bond, once equal, can start to feel asymmetrical. And that's where Trendship, beautiful though it is, may start to fade. But the lifelong friendships, those are the mirrors of the self itself. They exist beyond ego, beyond persona. They remind us who we are beneath all the archetypes we've played. Friendship at its deepest level is soul-based. It exists beneath the external fluctuations. You can be in wildly different worlds outwardly, one thriving, one struggling, one far away, one near, and yet inwardly there's still that shared vibration of truth, humour, and rawness. It's what you might call the raw being equal. That's the self-to-self meeting Jung spoke of, when two whole psyches recognise each other beyond persona and projection. Status doesn't exist there, only essence does. And paradoxically, when that equality of soul is intact, it can withstand immense external inequality. In fact, the friendship may deepen through it, because love without comparison becomes freedom. You might say that equality of circumstance sustains Trendship, while equality of being sustains friendship. So let's dive a little deeper. What do Trendships actually look like? A Trendship might be the friend you meet through a creative project, a writing group, a business startup, a cause, or a course. It might be a phase mate, another new parent, or someone going through the same big shift in life. The image that pops up in my head is of Hugh Grant in the film of About a Boy, sitting in a friendship group, chanting "Single parents alone together." His character is a misfit, and there for all the wrong reasons, but the women in that group are fully committed to the shift they're going through and getting support from their Trendship group. And talking of shifts, sometimes it's spiritual, the people you connect with during a retreat, or through a shared teacher, or a healing path. It might even be ideological, a friendship forged through activism, or a movement that mattered deeply in that moment. Trendships are vibrant, they're alive, but they're also contextual. The bond exists in orbit around a shared outer world. And once that world changes, when the project ends, the course finishes, the season passes, the gravity can loosen. You notice you don't talk as often. The connection was real, but it was tied to the trend. There can even be a subtle tension when the balance shifts, that who's doing better, who's more visible shift. And don't misunderstand me, that's okay. Trendships aren't fake, they're just seasonal. They are the short stories in your larger anthology, intense, beautiful, self-contained. And here's why they're so important. Trendships keep you evolving. They introduce you to new worlds, new languages, new versions of yourself. If you're like they're your creative accelerators, your catalysts for reinvention. They give you the courage to play with new archetypes and to see yourself freshly reflected. They are the friendships that help you grow, whereas the deeper friendships, those help you root. They keep you tethered to the truth of who you are. So we do absolutely need both, the trendships that grow us and the friendships that ground us, growth and root, trending and tending, each one vital to the ecosystem of a whole life. And I've realised, through all this reflection, and maybe because I've just had a significant birthday, that friends can come along and deepen at every single stage of life. I've got deep, lovely, everlasting friendships from when I was 5 years old, from school days at 11 and 12, from university at 19 and then later in my 30s, from work and motherhood and writing and travels, from singing in bands and choirs and volunteering at charities, from my 40s in second or third careers, and now with new ones appearing in my 50s, and dare I say it, beyond. Each decade seems to offer a new constellation, some who drift in for a season, others who stay for the long arc. And what's beautiful is that even in midlife, friendship keeps evolving. We're never done meeting our people. Now, sometimes even deep friendships end, not because the love's gone, but because the balance of the raw shifts. The inner equality, that mutual seeing, can falter for a while, and when it does, the connection may dissolve or take a different or quieter shape. Other times, someone who seemed like a trendship can turn out to be something much deeper. You find yourselves enduring things together, weathering loss, illness, reinvention, children being born, children leaving home, parents dying, dreams collapsing and rebirthing. And suddenly you realise you've become part of each other's life myth. Those friendships, the ones that endure difficulty, don't just comfort you, they redefine what love between friends can be. They shift from being about fun and similarity to being about truth and staying power, about hugging one another when words fail. And I've also realised that the deepest friendships, the ones that last decades, maybe lifetimes, all seem to share one thing: equality. Not equality of circumstance, not who's most successful or who's got their life sorted. That's the kind of equality that belongs to Trendship. In a Trendship, the balance can shift if one person rises or falls, or if life takes you in very different directions, because the bond is often outer focused. But in true friendship, equality is internal. It's that quiet knowing that you meet on the same ground of being. No matter what's happening externally, the raw is equal. You see each other without hierarchy, without comparison, without need to explain. And when that equality holds, the friendship can weather anything. It can even deepen through imbalance, because love without comparison becomes freedom. That's why status can threaten trendship, but not friendship. True friendship has no status. It has soul. And that is what I love most about my lifelong friends, that no matter how life changes, we still meet as equals in spirit. Even when our outer worlds look completely different, the energy between us is the same. We recognise each other at the level that matters, where nothing needs proving and everything, anything, or nothing can be said. So maybe this episode is a love letter. Yep, another one, to my lifelong friends who've walked beside me through all the trends and transformations, the ones who still know my laughter from 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, or, need I go on, X number of years ago, who are equal with me in soul, even when everything else looks unequal. And it's also a blessing and a thanks for the Trendships, the beautiful, perhaps more fleeting companions that help me grow into new chapters. Because both matter, both belong. So here's to the ones who come and go, and the ones who stay. To the ones who reflect a moment, and the ones who hold the whole myth, the whole hero's journey. To the friends who mirror a chapter, and the ones who fill the whole book. And to the raw, equal love beneath it all, the friendship that asks for nothing but truth. Because in the end, we're all just trending towards wholeness, towards the reason, the season, the lifetime. You've been listening to The Download. I'm Jill Marshall. Thank you for sharing this space. If this episode touched you, maybe send it to one of your lifelong friends or one of your beautiful Trendships as a quiet thank you for the wonderful season you shared. And to my own friends, who may react to this in the same way as they did to the friend's description in The Two Miss Parsons, with the question of, which one am I? You know who you are. Thank you for enriching my life with your friendship. Love you. Thanks for tuning in to the Download podcast. Feel free to like, comment and share and all of that good stuff. Also, I'd love to hear more about your own intuitive hits and downloads. So do find us on Facebook, YouTube and more.